Hello, students. Welcome to the English class. This is Parul Sharma. Hope you all are doing well. Students, today we will start lesson number 3 of your book Moment, that is Ishwaran the Storyteller by R.K. Laxman. In this story, there are two main characters, that is Ishwaran and his master Mahindra. So let's start with the chapter. This story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man named Mahindra. Mahindra is narrating the story to Ganesh. Ganesh, you can imagine him as his friend or his relative or his fellow. Mahindra was a junior supervisor in a firm. He worked on the different construction sites like factories, bridges, dams, etc. Mahindra's job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work site. He had to keep moving from one place to another place as per the order of his officers. He was a bachelor. He was very simple and adjustable person who can adjust in any kind of situation. He did not hope for the good and luxurious life. He is a very simple person. And his cook, Ishwaran was his cook who cooked for him. Ishwaran was attached to him. Wherever he was posted, Ishwaran always accompanied him there. His cook was attached to him. Ishwaran cooked for him, washed his clothes, and performed other household duties. Ishwaran was a good storyteller too. He could weave various stories on any topic. Ishwaran had a habit of reading storybooks or magazines. Especially, he used to read Tamil thrillers. And he was too imaginative and adds suspense and thrills to his stories. He narrated the smallest incident in an exaggerative way. Exaggerative way means बढ़ा चढ़ा कर बोलना, like in detail. For example, suppose he want to describe he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say, with full of expressions and dramatic gestures, the road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast laying across the road. It means that he could impress anyone by narrating the story. And Mahindra always enjoyed his stories. He loved to hear the story from Ishwaran. Mahindra listened to Ishwaran's tale uncritically. Once he told him that his native village was surrounded by a huge forest, which was full of trees. The huge logs of timber were sold there, and they were transported onto the vehicle by elephants. Means another story he is creating. So he told one day an elephant escaped from the timber yard and roamed around the forest. It stepped on the bushes and crushed them, tore the creepers, plants, broke the fences, broke selling stalls, mud pots, and so on. That means that mad elephant was creating destruction everywhere. You can imagine an elephant when an elephant became mad or out of control. So, what kind of destruction you can see? Then it broke the wall of the school after destructing the everything on the road, and the elephant entered the ground where the students were playing, and it can be quite dangerous too. So the elephant went to the school. All the students, after watching an elephant, they were rushing from the school ground, and all the students hid in their classrooms. The teachers climbed up the terrace, and Ishwaran was then a junior student in the same school. So you could imagine he was entering his character in the story in an exaggerative way. Like, I was a junior student that time. He took a stick from the teacher and went to the elephant. You can imagine an elephant can be the dangerous person that time when it was out of control. So he went to the elephant with a stick. An elephant was looking to Ishwaran, and Ishwaran was looking to an elephant. He would walk up and then he took a stick and controlled the elephant all alone. Is it possible? And how he controlled? He took the stick and hit on the third toenail of an elephant. Third toenail. And then whenever Ishwaran was not reminding anything new about the story, he leave the story at the suspense. There also he did the same thing. He left the story and he did not conclude it and created the suspense for Mahindra. And Mahindra was eager to know how a small children, a junior student, can control the elephant. Then next day, Mahindra was eager to know how a junior student can control the elephant. He wanted to know from Ishwaran, but Ishwaran was very normal doing the old routine work. And then when he asked that how you were able to control that elephant, then he told that it is a Japanese art and I learnt it in my childhood, and so that I know कि whenever we hit on the third toenail of an elephant and he could be fell down. So that time he portrayed his character in an exaggerative way, and he told that he was the only person who controlled the elephant. Every day, Ishwaran would narrate one or other story full of adventure, horror, and thrill. Sometimes Mahendra felt that the story was a fiction, means the story was self created, but still he enjoyed listening to it because of his because of his narrating skill, his unique way of narrating a story. As there was no television set at their place where they lived, these stories were the only source of entertainment for Mahindra. Now, one morning, Mahindra was having his breakfast, and Ishwaran asked him if he could prepare a special meal for dinner, as it was a good day. He added that on this day they prepared special food for the souls of the dead elders of the family. With the permission of Mahindra, Ishwaran prepared a delicious dinner. Mahindra praised his cooking skills. He was enjoying his dinner. Ishwaran was very happy on being praised by Mahindra. But all of a sudden, as per his habit, he started narrating a story, a detailed story related to the ghost and supernatural powers, which were disliked by Mahindra. Why disliked? Because he felt scared due to these things, and he did not believe in ghost and all. Ishwaran told him that the site of the factory where he worked earlier, it was a burial ground. Earlier, it was a burial ground. Mahindra left his meal and started listening to Ishwaran. He started paying attention to him. Ishwaran continued that on the first day itself, he had seen a human skull laying on the ground. And even later, he had come across a number of skulls and bones. And Ishwaran said that, as per his habit, he praised himself. Ishwaran said that sometimes he saw ghosts at night, and although he was not scared of them because he was a brave fellow, but one of the lady ghost was very horrible. He mentioned a lady ghost. He saw a lady ghost on a full moonlight. It was very ugly, skeleton type, and holding a fetus. Fetus means an unborn baby in its arms. That was too scary for him also. Mahindra called Ishwaran a crazy fellow. He tried to convince Ishwaran that it was his imagination and there was nothing like a ghost in this world. But he was also feeling scary that time. He was also afraid, but he changed the topic and he said there is no ghost in this world, and but he himself was afraid now. From that day on, Mahindra went to his room with a certain unease. He was not feeling easy, not comfortable that time, and his mind was surrounded by the fearful thoughts which were told by Ishwaran. One night he was woken up by a low moan close to his window. Moan means a sound of crying, like this. He saw outside there was a ghost and he was frightened, and he broke into cold sweat and fell back on his pillow. He was very afraid that time, very nervous, and he was sweating. However, he thought that it might be a kind of auto-suggestion or trick, maybe, but still he was afraid. Next morning, Ishwaran, when he went to Ishwaran, and Ishwaran was very relaxed, and he was, because his daily habit it was to narrate a story, and he was very relaxed. He was not thinking or not scared, and but Mahindra was very afraid that time. Ishwaran reminded Mahindra that he had heard someone mourning outside the window. Ishwaran again reminded him that Mahindra that he had heard someone mourning sound outside the window. He told him that he had come running to his room after hearing the moans. Then what happened? The same thing was happened with Mahindra also, and Mahindra also felt afraid that time. Mahindra felt chilled and ran to his office. But what happened? Now he decided, because he has seen and he was very afraid that time. He was not even ready to leave that place. So he directly went to his office, and what he did, he decided to leave the haunted place immediately. He went there and gave resignation letter to the officers and left that place. This was the impact of Ishwaran's story of that time, because he was master in this art of telling a story. Means he made the people to convince whatever he is narrating that is true. So that means storytelling is also an art, it's a skill. So this is all about the story of Ishwaran the storyteller. That's all for today. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.